can count on you. Sorry, I always can count on you, Gaspar.
You're welcome, teacher. Don't worry.
Thank you. Okay, so I guess again, this is the class for the ELT125, section 1 on November the 19th. And I think Sebastian identified the image, right? Now, what's wrong with this image? Is there anything wrong?
His symbol is like covered by a blue square.
Okay, so that symbol, that the symbol was sort of erased, covered, blocked, right? Okay, still the same character without the symbol. Sort of.
Yes, I think so. I mean, kind of. There are many Superman like copies so they have different symbols, but they look similar. So, like Cyborg Superman or Zod. So maybe he's not really Superman if you don't see his symbol. Like maybe he's another. Like maybe his symbol is other symbol. That means he's not really the real Superman. But I'm sure this is the real Superman. I think.
All right.
Yes, because it's from the new movie.
Okay, so it was sort of I didn't realize it was sort of a philosophical question, like, is this a real character if he doesn't have the symbol on his chest, right? But let's see if the next image. Excellent. Now the next image, please pay attention to this one. Who's this character or person? Who do you think he is?
Is Hitler?
How do you know?
I don't know.
Is there anything wrong with the image? Any comment that you would like to
shaved up?
Shaved off. He's shaved. All right. He shaved off his mustache, right?
Yes.
Okay. Right. So in both images, there's an element, right, that it's missing. There's an element that is not there. An element that is has been deleted or erased. In the previous one is Superman's symbol on his chest. And the second image is a mustache of this quite famous character that we're not going to discuss. He has a bad influence on the German people, but in terms of the image, as you notice, there's one element missing on the image on the right, the mustache. Still the same person. And in the previous one, without the symbol on his chest, probably still with the same strength, the same superpowers, the same social conscience and purpose of helping humankind, right? So today's lesson, it's got to do with these disappearing elements that magically disappear, but still, even there are some missing elements, still the essence of the word remains the same. We're going to start with some definitions for this concept. We're going to talk about some examples, and then after the examples, an analysis component. So in this analysis component, first it's going to be guided. We are, as a group, going to analyze a paragraph or a line, right? and then you are going to do it more autonomously, right, in groups. Okay, so let's, I think I have 4 definitions, and I'm going to ask the first one, Kelly, if you could read the first one, the second one, Marieta, the third one, Nicolas, and the fourth one, Sebastián Camaño. If you're okay with that, please, here's the first one.
Elision. In certain circumstances, sounds disappear. A phoneme may be realized as zero or have zero realization or be delayed.
Alrighty, thank you so much. Sorry, I was activating the microphone, you know, story of my life. So Roach says that elision, it's basically that in certain contexts, right, in certain situations or circumstances, sound disappear. And he talks about a zero realization, right, or deletion. A zero realization is that they are never pronounced, basically. Let's take a look at the second one.
The missing out of a consonant or vowel or both that would be present in the slow colloquial pronunciation of a word in isolation.
Yes. And this is by Brown, a very old definition, right? So he says, or he states, there's something missing. And it could be a consonant, right? Sorry, that was not on purpose. A consonant or a vowel or both, right? He talks about colloquial pronunciation. Colloquial is everyday conversation, right? What you can talk to someone else in everyday conversation, not talking in I don't know, scientific or technical words or in a very formal context, right? So it's a missing out, a sound, either a consonant or a vowel sound that is not there, basically. The next definition.
A type of economy of articulation that consists of omitting either a vowel or a consonant. The omission of sounds is known as elision.
Perfect. Thanks so much. I'm still in the mission of calling, right? Calling students to attend the meeting. Ortiz Lira, quite famous phonetician. He talks about economy. Economy is basically trying to do as much as possible with little, right? So if I can pronounce the word and I can pronounce it using 3 syllables instead of 4, I take the shortcut. I make it in less time, less effort. I spend less energy, and I say exactly the same. So he refers to this economy of articulation because it's not that we are lazy, but it's good to to do exactly the same with less, right? So that's why he refers to this sort of economy in terms of articulation, probably connected with the number of syllables used in an utterance. And finally, the last definition.
A process of reduction, including loss of phonemes.
Exactly. So a process of reduction, including loss of phonemes. Exactly. a process of reduction. And the loss, right, is that, I mean, we're not saying goodbye to the phonemes, right? But they're lost somehow. They are not there. So that's those are definitions given by phoneticians or experts on phonetics, on pronunciation. I think I shared this with the sound, so hopefully you will be able to watch and listen the video. Let me know if you can't listen. It's Tim's workshop, exactly. Let's see if we can. Exactly, available in a BBC website. Let me know if you cannot hear this, right? Were you able to hear?
Yes.
Too loud?
Yes, teacher.
Okay, here we go.
I. Hi, I'm Tim, and this is my pronunciation workshop. Here, I'm going to show you how English is really spoken. It'll help you become a better listener and a more fluent speaker. Come on, let's go inside. Today, we're going to hear a disappearing sound. Or rather, we're not going to hear it. What is the negative form of can? Can't, right? And what's the final sound in the word can't? T, right? Or is it? How good are you at maths? Can you answer this question? Tricky. Let's ask the people of London.
Oh, sorry, I can't do it.
I can't do it.
Sorry, I can't do that. Sorry, I can't do that.
No, I can't do that.
No, sorry, I can't do that.
Well, that is very tricky indeed. I'll give you the answer in a minute. First, did you notice the t sound at the end of the word can't? No, I don't think I did either. Let's have another listen.
Oh, sorry, I can't do it.
I can't do it.
Sorry, I can't do that. Sorry, I can't do that.
No, I can't do that.
No, sorry, I can't do that.
In everyday speech, when a t sound comes in between two consonant sounds, we often don't pronounce it. This is because it makes the words flow together more fluently. It's more difficult to say three consonants together in a row when t is in the middle. Your mouth has to do too much work. I can't do it is more difficult to say than I can't do it. When a sound disappears in between two words, it's called elision. Here are some other examples.
I can't stand the rain.
It must be time to leave. Am I the first person here?
I don't want it.
So, you've heard the examples, and now it's your turn. Are you ready to give it a go? Listen and repeat.
I can't stand the rain.
It must be time to leave. Am I the first person here?
I don't want it.
How did you get on? Great! Remember, if you want to read more about this topic, please visit our website, bbclearningenglish.com. Now, are you still struggling with that maths question? Well, let me put you out of your misery. Here's the answer. Right, well, that's all for this week from the pronunciation workshop. I'll see you next week. Uh-oh, is that the time? I am running seriously late. I must go. Bye. Ow!
All right. Hope you were able to watch the video without any interruptions. And there are some questions that I want to ask you. What was the video about?
The pronunciation.
Okay. Specifically, the pronunciation where?
Between two consonant sounds.
Between two consonant
sounds, right.
Okay. And what happened to this specific sound between two consonant sounds?
It's usually not pronounced.
It is usually not pronounced. Exactly. Excellent. It is usually
or sometimes?
I would say most of the time it is not pronounced. I mean, some people may carefully pronounce each sounds, particularly when they are in a very formal context, or for example, someone who's teaching a language or someone who is scolding, for example, a parent who is scolding or telling off a child, like, I have told you this many times. You can't watch TV in the afternoons. I don't know, something like that, right? So if a speaker is being very
for
emphatic.
example, in the sentence, in the video sentence, sorry, I can't do it.
That's right. That's right.
That's right.
For example, if there's more emphasis from the part of the speaker probably could pronounce the final t. Now, the point is, in general, we don't have this final t in between consonant sounds. Okay, that's what happens. I mean, you don't even have to think about it. It just takes place. Or when you listen to speakers using English at a normal pace, you're able to perceive that some sounds are not pronounced, as Diego was saying, right? Or just tend to disappear, basically. And can you name at least one of the examples given in the video? Can you name at least one example given by Tim in his workshop? Just one of the examples given.
I can't remember.
Do it. I can't do it. All right. I can't. Any other?
One of them said, "Am I the first person here?"
Perfect. Excellent. Am I the first person here? Exactly. Any other that you can't remember? It's very important to remember that when you use a negative form of can't in a more RP pronunciation, right? Because in general American, most speakers would use a trap, would say can't, not can't, can't, right? American speakers, or the other varieties. But in this more RP or British variety, they are using a long ah. So in the negative form, can't, the t in between consonant sounds elided, right, is usually or most of the times deleted. But also we need to pay attention to the fact that when you say can't, it's a long ah. And when you use this in an affirmative form, like yes, I can, right? Can, it has schwa, not a long ah. So if you say I can swim and dance, I can play the violin, I can do many things. I can it contains a schwa. The affirmative form, it contains a schwa that you know is quite relaxed, mid-center, right? Whereas a long ah has a very different articulation, right? Ah. So that's why even if you get rid of the t sound in between two consonant sounds, as in can't, right? Can't do it, or can't. The speaker said, "I can't stand the rain." I can't stand the rain. So even if t is not pronounced, you remember that it was a long ah pronounced, not a schwa, right? Because if it's a schwa, it's a positive, right? Let me type this in the chat. So in order to, so I can swim. I can swim. Should be pronounced with the schwa. Sorry, and I can't swim. I can't swim with a long ah. So even if the final t, the negative element,
I
right,
can't
is not pronounced.
swim. I can't swim.
Exactly. I can't swim. Exactly.
It's a long ah.
A long ah. In this more British pronunciation, right? Right, because General American takes in this specific end a trap.
Teacher,
Yes.
Teacher, but in British English, it's can't or can't.
In British English, it's can't, long
can't, long
yes.
and in American English, is can't. It's like a
Can't,
letter A. It's like an A.
In between, yes.
In between, yeah, in between.
Yeah, it's a trap, as the one you find in fat, dance, bat, tap, cat. That is specific vowel sound, which is called trap, right? If you remember.
Okay, thank you, teacher.
Yes, you're welcome. So that is something to remember. And then I think this is one we haven't watched. Here we go.
Hi, I'm Tim, and this is my pronunciation workshop. Here, I'm going to show you how English is really spoken. It'll help you to become a better listener and a more fluent speaker. You ready? Come on, follow me. Today, we're going to talk about one of the most important questions in contemporary Britain. The answer will also help you improve your pronunciation. So, what is this question? Well, it involves one of these and one of these. Quite simply, do you prefer your potatoes steamed or boiled? What's your preference? Well, this is what the people of London think.
I prefer steamed potatoes.
I prefer boiled potatoes.
I prefer steamed potatoes to boiled potatoes.
I prefer boiled potatoes.
So there we have it. The nation has spoken. Our completely scientific survey proves that the country is divided 50-50. But what about pronunciation? Well, one of the things that happens when we speak English fluently is that we don't always pronounce all the sounds in every word. The words steamed and boiled both end in the sound d, don't they? Or do they? Watch and listen again. Can you hear the sound d?
I prefer steamed potatoes.
I prefer boiled potatoes.
I prefer steamed potatoes to boiled potatoes.
I prefer boiled potatoes.
It's very difficult to say d when it comes in between two other consonants. Your mouth has to do a lot of work, so in many cases the d is not pronounced. Boiled potatoes becomes boiled potatoes, and steamed potatoes becomes steamed potatoes. This is called elision. Here are some more examples.
My best friend let me borrow his car.
Don't hold back. Say what you mean.
His bike rolled down the hill without him.
Right, so you've heard the examples and now it's your turn. You know the drill. Listen and repeat.
My best friend let me borrow his car.
Don't hold back. Say what you mean.
His bike rolled down the hill without him.
Well done. Now remember, if you want to learn more about pronunciation, then please visit our website.
Right, are you still there? Are you there?
Yes. Yes, teacher.
Okay. Okay. So I have a question for you. What was this video about?
The pronunciation.
The pronunciation. All right. And which were the examples given that were analyzed by Tim in his workshop? What was the survey about?
My friend let me borrow his car.
Okay, that was one of the examples. Exactly. Excellent. In the same line, can you remember any other example given?
I prefer steamed potatoes, or I prefer boiled potatoes.
Exactly. That was a survey, right? That was the question asked to the people in some people in London, right? Steamed or so. What was the conclusion that he gave? What was the result of his survey?
That sometimes people omit the D, like elision, like it's an elision, because they omit the D when they are casually speaking in a casual conversation.
Excellent, excellent. That's right. People omit the final D, particularly in these words that have an ed ending, right? D. They omit the final D sound. Exactly. That was the in casual speech, as some would say. Exactly. That's so. There are some examples of elision. A very interesting pronunciation of this word, by the way. Right? Elision. Elision. So in the first word we have scripts, right? With a careful pronunciation, probably would be scripts. Scripts. Try to pronounce a final. Try to pronounce this cluster of consonants. P, t, s, scripts. Can you do that? So in the example scripts, right? The in between t sound or the t sound between these two consonant sounds gets elided, right? It is elided, which means deleted, right? We omit it. Or speakers in general, right, tend to omit whenever you have a cluster of sounds. In this cluster of sounds, you have 1, 2, 3 consonant sounds, right? That is what we call a cluster, a group, right? A group of consonant sounds. So whenever you have like a cluster of sounds made of 3 consonant sounds, in general, the one in the middle one tends to disappear. Like in the transcription here on the right, scripts, right? Acts also has a consonant cluster, right? So in a careful pronunciation, we would say acts, right? Quite difficult. So acts would be the type of pronunciation that we would more often hear. We have the same situation here, a consonant cluster, facts, right? Facts, facts, very complex, right? So the t sound in between gets elided. Next one, dialects, right? Dialects, dialects. Next one, attempts, attempts. Next one, postcard, 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 right? And the last one, highlands, highlands, right? As you can see, the last one contains z, which is basically a marker for plural. I mean, this s is a marker for plural, just like in the examples above, just like in scripts, acts, right? And but we need to remember that the previous sound in the first case is voiceless. Therefore, we have voiceless s. In the second one, k is voiceless, s is voiceless as well. In the last one, in Highlands, right? The previous sound is voiced. Therefore, we use a voiced sound. In this case, these we're talking about an example of progressive assimilation, right? Sorry, in this case, progressive assimilation. Yes, progressive assimilation. Right. So going back to elision, whenever we have a cluster of consonant sounds made up of, for example, 3 consonant sounds, the one in the middle gets elided. The one in the middle, the consonant sound in the middle, disappears. Okay, and this is happening within a word, right? Within a word. We're not having 2 words, 3 words, 4 words, or a sentence. This is taking place in within a word, basically. Now, elision can also have, or happens, or takes place, or occur in word boundaries. In word boundaries. For example, in this first sentence, it's in between 2 words, just like in the other examples. So let's ask Camila Gonzalez if you could read aloud the first 2 examples, and Marieta, if you could read aloud the following 2 examples, please. Could you do that, please?
Yes, yes.
Thank you.
The next day. The last car.
How the dog in San Francisco.
Perfect. Very well done. So, in the first 2 cases, Ignacio Jofre, can you explain what's going on there? Can you explain what occurred in the first 2 cases, the ones read by Camila Gonzalez? In your own words, please.
Like the sound kind of blended. Like the last sound of the first word blended with the sound of the second one in some sort of way.
Okay, and in the second example, Ignacio?
It disappeared. It wasn't, the T wasn't pronounced.
All right. So the T sound is not pronounced in the second example. So the last card, excellent. And you're talking about blending in the first one, right?
Yeah, it kind of the blended a little bit, the sound.
Right, and if we pay attention to the transcription, we have the
yeah,
next, and day. So yeah, so what can you tell me about this as compared to this? Sorry, the word. Yes.
The XT turning to the sound KS instead of pronouncing like only the T. Next.
Right. So whenever we think about this letter, as in the word next, we focus only on this consonant sound, right? When we have to when we have to transcribe this, next, this letter or grapheme can be represented by k.
Yes.
Yes, and s. So that letter represents actually two sounds, two sounds which are represented by these two phonemes, right?
Right.
X. Yes. Okay. That's this one. And what about this one? This one in the transcription.
It isn't in the transcription.
Exactly, it isn't. It isn't. It disappeared, right? I mean,
right.
It is not there. Exactly. So in the first case and in the second case, we have a sound which disappeared, which was elided. Excellent. Alrighty. Alrighty, completely agree with you. And Natalia Correa, what do you think happened or occurred in the third example and in the fourth example? What do you think?
I think that in the third example, the T is don't pronounce, and the fourth example, the D is not pronounced.
Right, because we don't see this. The letter, it's very similar to the phonemics, the phonemic symbol, right? D. It's very similar, and it's not here. And same thing with this one. It's not there, right? Right. Completely agree with you. Essentially, just sounds disappear. Sounds disappear because of the following sounds, right? In between, we have the t sound or the d sound in between two consonant sounds, just like in the previous slide, right? S, the last sound, and the next one, d, and we have this t in between, so it disappears. In the second example, we have s, and we have k, and t in between, so it disappears. Last car, right? U in the third example, and the in between the, and it tends to be elided, right? And the same thing with n and f, n and f. So the d in between, it's also elided. That's sort of the technical term, right? We can say the sound disappears, the sound is omitted, the sound is not pronounced, right? Or the sound is, the sound is elided, which is a more technical term, right? Elided, which is exactly the same. Some practice. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 examples, and I'm going to ask Bastian to read 2, right, and Gaspar to read 3, because they are 5. Okay, so Bastian, can you start with the first two?
Professor.
Thank you.
Okay, first Bastian.
Yes.
No problem.
Mr. Alvial, are you present? Your presence is required for this exercise. Let's start with number 3, 4, and 5. Gaspar, can you take care of 3, 4, and 5, please?
Yes, no problem, Professor.
Thank you.
Okay. And church, most famous, handkerchief.
Perfect. And church, most famous, handkerchief. Gaspar, tell us about the next one. Remember, we're talking about elision. Elision is the omission or deletion of sounds. Sounds disappear. Which sound disappeared in the... Okay, that one.
That
yes?
one.
Okay.
What about it's not pronounced.
It's not pronounced. Perfect.
Not
what about number 4?
Most famous, letter T.
The sound that exactly.
It's not pronounced.
It's not pronounced. Perfect. What about number 5?
Letter D.
The sound D. Okay.
Sound D. It's not pronounced.
It's not pronounced, right? Handkerchief. Handkerchief. Excellent.
Handkerchief.
Very well done, Gaspar. Very well done.
Thank you, Professor.
You're welcome. Bastian, were you able to activate your microphone or send a message in the chat box? Let's take a look. No message. So let's ask another, I would say volunteer, but when you're not volunteering, like, asking your help. So Diego Farias, would you mind reading number 1 and 2, please?
Excuse me?
Could you read aloud number 1 and 2, Diego, please? Diego Farias?
1 and 2, okay.
Thank you.
Old man and gold ring.
Excellent. Now, can you tell us which sound or sounds disappear or got elided?
In the number 1, the disappear is the D.
Excellent. That one, right?
And the second one is the same as the first one. The D is disappear.
Excellent. Perfect. Thank you so much, Diego. So what do they have in common? If we have to give a rule for this, Javier de la Fuente, if we have to say, okay, whenever we have this context, this is what happens, according to the examples. What do all the examples have in common, basically? What do you think, Javier de la Fuente? So if Javiera is not able to answer the question because of any issues, Kelly, would you mind taking her place? Any volunteer? So this is what we're going to do. I'm going to sort of elaborate something, and then you tell me if you agree or disagree. Okay? In all of the examples given, there is a D or a T in between a consonant sound. Whenever this happens, but whenever there is a D or a T in between two consonant sounds, it's not pronounced. Do you agree with that?
Yes, I'm agree.
Okay, you agree. Excellent. Excellent. Now, this happens between word boundaries. Sorry, it's a long word to write. I'm going to do my best. Between word boundaries, which is the case of number 1, because we have 2 words, and it happens right there when the first one ends and the next one begins, right? Between word boundaries. Case number 1, case number 2, we have 2 words also, right? Case number 3, 2 words, and number 4, most is 1 word, famous is another one. And also it happens within words, within a word. Because in the last example, sorry, we have the word handkerchief, which is one word, right? Handkerchief is the word for pañuelo, if I'm not mistaken, right? You can tell me if I'm wrong or if I'm right. I think handkerchief is the word for pañuelo, the word that we have in Spanish. So this process of elision happens in between the word, right? This is just 1 word. In the other cases, we have 2. So the cases 1, 2, 3, and 4, elision happens in word boundaries. In the case number 5, the elision happens within a word, And let me get rid of that section. So we have the transcription there. So owl, we don't have the. Gold ring, we don't have the, as you said, right? And church, we don't have the. The example, these are the examples read by Gaspar, right? Most famous. Of course, you might hear speaker saying most famous, the most famous, right? But in rapid or casual speech, the t would be elided. And handkerchief, we don't have the here, right? There's also another, so that's in terms of elision, right? Elision, some sounds, the in this case, and the disappear or get elided. Now, in number 5, we have another feature of connected speech, which is this one, right? Because of the influence of the following sound, which is a velar sound, this n becomes a ng, which is a velar sound. So in this case, we are having another feature of connected speech called, if you remember, how do you call that influence between sounds when a specific characteristic of one sound was transferred to another one, like voicing, place articulation, manner articulation. Do you remember that the word of that or the name of that particular feature of connected speech? No? It starts with an A.
Assimilation.
Excellent. Assimilation. What kind of assimilation? Progressive or regressive in this case?
Regressive.
Excellent. You got it. Regressive, because it goes backwards, right? It goes to the left. We in Western societies, we write from left to right, right? So from left to right. So progression is seen in terms of that, going to the right. In the case, it's going backwards. So it's a regressive assimilation, exactly. Regressive assimilation. But that's a bonus, right? Because we're dealing with elision. Sometimes the elision is not t or d, but is a schwa. Okay, it is a schwa. So let me ask Marieta to read the first 3, right? And Diego Troncoso to read the other 3. Is that all right with you guys?
All right.
Excellent.
Okay. The first is library. library, and temporary.
Excellent.
Okay. Literary, contemporary, and contrary.
Excellent. Very well done, both of you. I don't know if you were reading the or the transcription, but you did it very well. All right. So library, February. Some people say February, right? Anyway, temporary, literary, contemporary, and contrary. Contrary. There's some primary stress here in the second syllable, right? Contrary. Now, the elision. Let's talk about the elision in the next slide. Were you able to see which sound was elided? Nope. Let me go back. So library becomes library. Library. Some speakers may not say library, but library. Library. So instead of having instead of having three syllables, instead of pronouncing three syllables, some speakers would pronounce only two. Library. In the second case, February becomes February. February. So some speakers would pronounce this month just with this, not with a diphthong, right? As in the first case in the previous slide. Temporary becomes temporary. 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 Literary becomes literary. 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 Contemporary becomes contemporary. 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 And contrary becomes contrary. Contrary. Okay, so whenever there is an elision of a schwa, there's one syllable that is not pronounced. Okay, one syllable that is not pronounced. That's something that that I want you to consider. So to recap, before we go on a break, because it's time for us to go on a break, we have talked about elision of the sounds t and the sounds d, right?
T.
Exactly. In between consonant sounds, right? In between consonant sounds. So whenever we have a cluster of sounds, a cluster of consonant sounds, remember a group of consonant sounds, usually three, right? If t or d are in the middle, it disappears. It is elided. And in the list, this last slide, we're talking about the elision of a schwa, which implies that the word will have a lower number of syllables. For example, in the first case, library, instead of three syllables, some speakers would produce this word as library. Library. They would pronouncing only two syllables. Okay, so that's the first half of this lesson, of this session. In the next second part, we will have application of this. We will listen to some activities, and we're going to do some analysis. So this is remember, the only class in which we are dealing with elision. Okay, so in the end, probably the idea is to combine all of the features of connected speech that so far we have covered. The idea is to apply in the same analysis assimilation, linking, and elision. Okay, so I'll see you after the break. Hopefully many of you or all of you may come back, safe and sound. I'm going to stop recording, and I'll see you after the break.